Hello and welcome to 2025. Today I'd like to walk you through the DustMaster range that we have on offer for your dust extraction needs in the concrete preparation industry. So without further ado, it's a big subject, so let's get through it. So as you can see, we've got a range of different machines, single phase, 10 amps, 15 amps and phase units. Okay, so one thing I wanted to point out about these first 5 units, they're all single phase 10 amp as we mentioned. These 2 units here are modular units, which effectively means there's actually another 2 variations of these. So we really have 7 machines to offer in the single phase 10 amp range. So without further ado, let's have a look at the first one here, which is the DM1360. So this particular machine, obviously designed around being compact and small. It is only single motor vacuum, but these first 5 units, or effectively 7 units, the first 5 units on display here, they all use the same filter cartridge, which is our H13 filter cartridge, very large filter cartridge, M class, with the provision here for the filter cleaning system in the top, and we'll go into that shortly. But these first 5 machines use the same pleated filter cartridge. So the 1360 is the single motor dust extractor. Let's walk through this design. You will notice that these first 2 are very, very similar. This one here is just slightly scaled up, being the 2 motor version with a bigger bucket, but the same features apply between the 2. We have on the front here protected switching area, 2 toggle switches, and one thing you will know about all these machines, single phase machines, is there is no electronics at all. It's just a simple toggle switch and manual switches. There is no lights or beeping on these machines. There's very little to go wrong. There is the filter indicator here on the right, the filter cleaning switch in the center there, and a toggle switch, in this case a single toggle switch there. We have the air inlet port there, which is capped, so when you're traveling, dust doesn't fly everywhere, but you can pull the cap off and plug your hose in. We have lifting handles on the side here for the head, and one major feature between these 2 units, very similar, is the wheelbase. It's a very square wheelbase. The casters are out the front, very large casters, and the large wheels at the back as well, and that's to prevent the machines from tipping over. It's a very big thing in this industry where the machines get pulled along often by the hose, and they tend to tip over and tumble and get dinted up. So we've put the casters and the wheels at the very corners of the machine to prevent tipping over. So this particular machine, as I said, very similar to this. Let's have a look inside and how this is all set up. So in the top here we have the motors, then we have the filter area, and then underneath that we have the dust containment, or the bucket system. So we undo these 3 catches here, we lift the head off, the head goes to the side, and then we can wheel this bin away and empty into our disposal unit. This particular machine, of course, between these first 3, we can fit plastic bags to the bin. It's a little bit tedious. You're much better off going to longer pack versions, but you can run plastic bags in these if you're careful, but mostly they'll be run without a plastic bag. You'll note there's handles on the side here for lifting, assisting to lift it into the bin as well. Okay, so these particular machines, of course, the first 3 are only available in M class, and put this head back on. It's a very simple, robust machine designed for the contractor. A lot of feedback from contractors on this design. Very reliable little unit. One thing I will note is all the single phase machines all use exactly the same motor. Okay, so this one here, very similar to the 1360. This one's called the DM2660. But in the same way, filter protection, switch protection on the top here. We have, in this case, 2 toggle switches, 2 motors inside. The same filter cartridge, a little bit more room here, you'll see. Gives a bit more separation from the dust bin, which increases the filter life as far as how long you can go before it starts getting blocked up. So the filter in the top here, a bigger bin at the bottom, but the same design overall. Very successful unit. Okay, the next machine along we have is our DM2670. So this particular head here is exactly the same head as this particular unit here. Now on these three machines, on the head mounted below that point is a filter cleaning system, which is a finger system which flicks the inside pleats of the filter cartridge and knocks the dust off. Very simple. All you need to do is turn both motors off, run the filter cleaning system for about 30 seconds and then switch it off, and the filter is perfectly clean. Okay, so let's have a look at this machine. Slightly different to the design to these two here. We have a side inlet port on the inlet of the hose, which creates more of a cyclone action. It's a little bit better there. The filter system obviously a little bit further away again. The bucket system is vastly different. We have the same casters on the front, but the bucket is a drop down bucket, so you can actually lift this lever and pull the bucket out and wheel that to the bin. You've also got the ability to lift via this handle as well. Okay, so once that bucket's put back in, as mentioned before, you can put bags in there, plastic bags, but it's much easier to use a longer pack system if you're wanting to bag your dust. So this is the 2670, very successful unit. We've got a storage bucket on the front as well. All these machines have a 5 meter heavy duty lead fitted. Okay, so stepping up to the next machine, we have the DustMaster LX4. This is the latest in our range. Obviously focused on being compact and a longer pack machine. But one of the major features about the DustMaster LX4 machines is it is modular. So we have, in this case, we have an M-class machine. M-class, and this machine is actually a 2-motor vacuum. As you can see here, we have motor pods at the back. We'll go over that very shortly. But one thing about the LX4 system is it's modular, as we said, and you can actually have this particular machine, M-class, in a single motor or 2-motor, and the H-class in a single motor or 2-motor. So we effectively have 4 units available in this particular range. So let's have a look at some of the features. The major feature, of course, on these machines is that it's a modular motor system. So what we have here is a motor pod, and to remove a motor pod for service, which is one major advantage of the motor pods, you can remove a motor pod and have that repaired, just the pod itself, and brought back and put it back on, or you can have a spare motor pod as a backup so you can continue working on the job. So let's have a look at how easy it is to remove the motor pod from the system. So we have the power that plugs into the control box for the motor. We have an orange hose down to the motor pod, and to remove the motor hose we simply pull the hose off, and then we have 2 knobs here and the switch for the motor. We undo the 2 knobs, and then we have the motor pod removed. Now you'll note here that the switch there is part of the motor pod, so if that fails, it's an easy repair as well. But of course, all these machines being brush motors, the brush motors do have a life, so that's why we've designed this system like that, so it's easy to service. Of course, if you have a M1 model or an H1 model, which are both single motor vacs, if you're ever wanting to upgrade your machine, once your requirements require it, you can of course buy an additional motor pod and fit that to your machine. Okay, so let's refit this motor pod. As you can see, very quick and easy to scale up your machine or have it repaired. So we'll fit the hose back on and plug the motor in. Okay, so a couple other features. We have a rear braking system, so you flick this over and that's the brakes on the machine. We have here we have a cable holder, so it's just a simple strap. So when you have the cable rolled up, you just pass it through the center and hook on the first carabiner onto the loop. Then you'll see there's an extra piece here of strap, which is for your hose if you're wanting to strap the hose to the back of the machine. Simple carabiner, poke it through the hose and clip it on. Of course, we have the filter cleaning switch and the filter indicator gauge there. Okay, so moving on to the H-class version of the same vacuum. So essentially the H-class vacuum is exactly the same machine as the M-class, but in the top section here we have installed an H14 filter cartridge, which these machines come as certified and able to be recertified by Floorex very quickly. Okay, so inlet is the same, longer pack system, which is a continuous bag, and the tray where the bag sits, there's no sharp points here for it to catch on or rip. We have the cable tie holder there. So the LX4, very versatile system, available in 4 different models. Then we step up to our DM2780 machine. This particular machine is still single phase. However, because it is 3 motors, 3 times 1200 watts, 3600 watts essentially, we're looking at 15 amp power. Very powerful unit though, but this machine, very quickly we have the cyclone action coming in. The inlet port can be switched out from 50mm to 65 or 75mm. We have the 3 toggle switches, filter cleaning switch in the same way as the other machines we've just looked at, filter indicator on the front here. The filter itself is quite a bit larger than our one we looked at before, but the same sort of design. We have the longer pack system under here, and lift points on the side, and a tote bag at the back, of course. And this machine also has the ability to be raised and lowered to be able to fit in the back of your van, so the whole head can be lowered down and assist in fitting into your van. Okay, so that is the DM2780 3 motor large longer pack vacuum. The next one up is of course our RP4000, different leg altogether in some ways, but still part of the DustMaster range. We're built here in Australia, Australian made, but some of the features very quickly, we have very simple controls. This particular machine runs 32 amp power inlet lead, and in addition to having 32 amps, it actually has an output power point on the other side, so you can plug in your grinder into the output of this machine. It is limited to 20 amps, so most 3-phase grinders will be able to plug into that and run off the DustMaster RP4000. But we have a phase reversing switch here in case the rotation of the grinder is wrong, or of course the vacuum is not going in the correct direction. We can reverse that there. On-off switch, emergency stop, and hour meter. On the front here we have a large conical cyclonic dust containment system, and in there is 3 H14 certified H-class filters. They are automatically pulsed using the pulsing system in the top here, with a compressed air tank and a compressor behind here, and then down below we have this large 3-phase blower in the bottom. But this machine is designed to go all day, every day, and keep up without any maintenance. No filter cleaning, manual filter cleaning at all. Filters are in the top there, of course. Longer pack system, very rugged. It is about 310 kilos, but all the casters and wheels are very rugged, designed to be there for the long haul. It also has a 3-inch cam lock in the front, standard for most machines. So I should go through some of the uses that these machines are good for. So the 1360 single motor vacuum, or any single motor version of the LX4, good for hand grinders, Meteor 250, or in some cases the Satellite 480 it is also sufficient. However, the Satellite 480 is a bit of a big ask for a single motor vacuum, and you're probably better off to run with a 2 motor vacuum. So that's where the 2660, 2670 or 2 motor LX4s come into play. Good for the Satellite 480. That's the largest single phase machine, and then we step to the Satellite 650 range for the 2 motor DustMasters. So if you're running a Satellite 760, It is really producing too much dust at that point for a 2-motor vacuum, and you need to switch to DustMaster 2680 3-motor vacuum, or of course the RP4000. The RP4000 pairs perfectly with the satellite 760. Of course, it's great for anything smaller as well, of course, but you may need to back off the flow rate to suit the 50mm hose. Mostly the RP4000 will be used with 3-inch hose to be able to cope with the amount of airflow that pulls. We need to use 3-inch hose. So there you go, the DustMaster range for 2025. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions at all, head to our website. There's plenty of other videos to have a look at on these range, and we delve into each one of these models and how some of the filter cleaning system works, how to maintain your machine, and much more. So check back for more, ask your local rep. If you're needing more information, glad to help. Any of our branches, of course, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Auckland, and of course Swan Hill. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.